if I lay down and I play dead and I stay dead, maybe you'll get sick of being the monster out of my head.
Hello, happy Wednesday, everybody. I just wanted to pop on here and say hello and thank you to all the new subscribers. I really appreciate everybody coming on board and supporting in this gray hair journey for all of us. And so I just want to start by saying thank you and welcome to the channel. We're working on it. It's a work in progress, as we all are, right? I don't know. Is it just me or is everybody? In the last 2 months, probably 6 weeks, I've had more change in the last 6 weeks than I have had in probably 2 years. I mean, it was like the universe came in with a big stick and just started slamming doors shut and slamming things shut and changing stuff. And it was almost like right on the mark of June 1st. It was like 6 months of 2022 and we are doing a complete overhaul. So as that kind of continues through, I was, posting some pictures about, of my progression. And usually I kind of do a year from last year to this year. And so lately I started adding in some of the older pictures of from like 2019. It was probably the oldest one. But the craziest thing, I guess, that I just did not expect, or I guess I should say my expectation was when you're on the other side of this, I should say, is you are thinking about the gray hair, and again, you're scared to death of even roots. And so I just assumed, and you know what they say about assumptions, right? That on the other side, I would look back, even though I knew that, there was an element that I didn't like with how your face and your skin tone with your hair, how that kind of ages you. But I still thought that there would be part of me that would look back and just kind of be like, oh my gosh, I look so much older now. Or just to have kind of a regret about it. That's kind of your biggest fear, is you have a regret about doing the change. Well, surprise! Guess what? It's actually the opposite. It's so funny how that works, right? So, I was posting, and here's one of the pictures I was posting of kind of like a 2019 versus 2022. And this picture, I mean, it's a print, it's like a paper printout, so it's not all that great, but you can kind of see, I don't know if I can hold it, if it's this hairline right here, and how it just was nothing. I mean, this girl was really scared about her hair falling out. This girl was feeling sorry for herself. She had a lot of judgment. She didn't have a lot of good self-esteem, and she was struggling in a lot of strange ways, even though my hair is all one color. It's almost as if kind of when I was after I had the baby, and then I look back at pictures of when I was heavy, and I'm like, oh, it's like this cringe thing, and there's a cringe thing. So where I was kind of expecting to look back and think cringe because I felt like I looked younger, I'm actually cringing because I feel like, oh my God, I didn't realize how bad it was, that I just couldn't let go. Keyword. And that is the lesson, and that is what we're talking about today, is letting go. It's hard, but now when I look at this picture and I put them side by side, I see, the letting go creates this freedom that you just can't explain. It is above the hair. I know everybody kind of says that, but this gray hair journey, you kind of go into it thinking one thing, and then you get slapped with the universe stick, and it's like, hey, no, this is a whole nother thing. Thank you for coming, is what it says. So that's what it's being able to accept and observe my feelings without judging them, because this is the thing. It's like, I was thinking to myself, it's like, maybe I should just light a candle. Let's light a candle for our old selves. I think that's probably a good idea. We light a candle and we thank our old selves. We have to, that's still part of us. It's all still part of us. And so it was funny. I was having these thoughts and I started watching this. I'm such a geek on, documentaries and YouTube things of such. And so I was watching this New Thinking Aloud podcast, and the guy was explaining something that hit me like a ton of bricks, and he calls it the long self. The long self. You know, and he describes it as like a worm or a snake, you know, and that your future is right here in this snake, or let's use worm. Worm's probably better for everybody. Your past is in this worm, your present is in your worm. Actually, your present is a cross-section right now of that worm. But the point being is that to have this long self, we're constantly moving. We're constantly, and as we're moving certain attributes to our, you know, to our future part, you know, there's some stuff that's still kind of dragging behind in that past part of the worm. And as we kind of move through this timeline that we're on, we kind of pull these attributes and kind of fluctuate back and forth until we kind of bring this pendulum to the middle, okay? And so we kind of keep this progress moving. And so this long self, it hit me. I was just like, oh, the long self. I don't know why, but I was like, oh. And then it was like the universe kind of sat down next to me and he just patted me on the head and was like, you know, you're cringing about this. In 5 years, you're going to be cringing about this. Because you know what? We never, ever, ever truly arrive. That's the thing. It is about the journey. And so you have to keep your focus on that. You're always evolving and always moving. And if you're doing it right, every 5 years, there should be a cringe factor. If you don't have a cringe factor, then you're not moving and growing. And you're probably miserable for other reasons because, as they say, depression is you're trying to stay in an avatar that doesn't fit you anymore. So those are some things that really, really hit me. The long self. Okay, allow yourself to have a long self, okay? So the whole deal is about being comfortable with the uncomfortable. You know, think of the uncomfortable as we're sitting in this big hot tub of uncomfortable. But as we sit there a little bit longer and a little bit longer, it becomes a little bit more tolerable and a little bit more tolerable and a little bit more tolerable until we're ready for a fucking ice plunge, okay? So that's kind of what we want to focus on is that, you know, the expectations that you think you're going to have when this is all said and done, it's probably not going to be what you think it's going to be. It's kind of the subscribers, Amy, had basically summed this whole thing up in the most perfect sentiment when she said, let me see, I quote, I wrote it down here, I could have saved a bunch of money on therapy if I were to have gone gray sooner. And you know what, girl? I feel that. It is the biggest lesson in letting go, and you can use that freedom and you can spread that sentiment through the rest of the elements of your experience and see where it takes you. Everybody's having an awesome week. I know it's been freaking crazy out there, so try to stay sane. Try to find the things that you're happy about and that you can have gratitude for. And as always, from your reality to my reality, thank you for being, and thank you for being with me. Have an awesome rest of your week. See you in the next video.
I can hear the demons call when they do what they do, and now I feel like taking off.